Bertie Nel, Head of Financial Planning and Advice at Momentum Consult. You are watching Risk Africa TV. I think financial planning has ever been in the industry more than 20, close to 30 years now. Financial planning is actually the passion I live for. And the mismatching of client needs and misappropriateness of product selling and product flocking in the past actually makes me more passionate that we've got a profession to work on and what clients actually need. And we see a lot of those pushing of a certain solution down a client's throat or whatever, whilst there's an obvious other solution and might not even be a product, but just having the discussion. So I think there's a big thing of what clients want and what they actually get. And I think that's the challenge and that's the exciting part of Consult, to try and build and get that matching in having the discussion with the client to determine the needs. I must actually give the stats that I used is well-known stats, as I've mentioned. It is a survey that conducted by FMI. So those well-known stats, but I mean it's the concerning thing of matching those two worlds. And I think that's the challenge for the advisor of the future, to actually be able to actually talk between the client and those, and especially in a post-RDR environment. I think that's also a common fact that was published recently in Personal Finance, stating that the Master of the Supreme Court actually declared that about 90% of individuals died without a will. And I just think the recent death of Aretha Franklin just emphasized that situation. And even in our own world, you get a lot of people saying we've got wills. Firstly, are they executable? And where do you trace them in the event of death? So I think that's a concerning stat to me, that there are people dying in South Africa, just lengthening and complicating the process, whilst there are so many nice solutions to actually address those needs. It's a passion again. It's something that I would love to see in our advisors. Again, it's a personal. You need to personalize that in order to make that effect. Being a planner in the past, that's where you actually touch point with clients. It's when you start talking to the stuff happening in their lives, impacting. It's not a bigger stuff necessarily. It's the small stuff. Is it planned? Are you thinking of these stuff? So I think it's important. That's what we try to align. So if you look at our passion and our vision and purpose for Consult is to be a true financial planning and advisory business going forward, I think it's important that we look at that and aligning those. And that's the challenge, is to get it in the hearts and the minds of our planners out there, to actually live this truly in the intervention or in the interactions with clients. It's a worldwide phenomenon at the moment, and the risk of, let's call it the so-called AI technology, fourth industrial revolution, with software and robo-advice. And it was initially a very hard debate, and I think it's a proper place for everybody. But I think that's what we want to do. We still want to be the financial advisor, face-to-face choice of clients out there. And there's an opportunity to combine these two worlds together, because the AI can determine and can predict whatever you need to have, but that emotional discussion and having it with a client, that's where you need to combine. So we're very excited in embarking with a relationship with a provider of financial software, and if we can influence that for the bigger industry, so much better. But I think it's for us, we want to embed that as part of our story, that we need to talk to clients. I think that one of the stats I used on the stage was saying 43% of time that advisors using is actually in the admin side of it. And that's actually a concerning thing, because you want to be in the face of clients. So, and you need to spend your time. So I know there's a lot of resistance in saying whether you should spend 5% in a client space or whether you should have a proper 3-hour discussion. I'm more convinced if you can provide the back-end support stuff and freeing up advisors in order to spend those 3-hour discussions or 1-hour discussions in front of client, that's where you're adding the value, and that's where you will grow the profession and the image of the profession. So I think that's the important side that we need to cross. It's not about, it is, we need to have solutions in place to provide for those needs, but if you can't determine the needs in an appropriate process, you might be ending up in selling the wrong product or the wrong solution for a client-specific need. A lot. I was initially with a disruption theme. It was a bit of out of my comfort zone at least. But I think it's good for our financial planners to understand that we're truly passionate about consult and making consult a true financial planning and advice business. That will solve the clients or our client solutions through our properly trained and educated and competent financial advisors. And hopefully we can attract a lot of people into this space that's comfortable with our approach.